Hello, my name is Deborah Krekel, and it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Dean as he is known to thousands of his patients and to me. Dr. Dean and I have a long-running connection. I first met him at the opening of his former holistic clinic here in Hawaii 13 years ago, and he continues to be inspirational and instrumental to my own experience of health and well-being. He's been my doctor, my mentor, my teacher, and friend. He even performed my wedding ceremony. Dr. Dean is indeed a man of many talents. If there's a single word to capture him, it would be healer. He does not wave magic wands or give magic potions. You just get better being around him. He's fun and insightful and carries a view of the world that lightens the day. Now he has expanded his toolkit and how he wishes to serve. He sees this as another level of being a doctor, which is to coach people's lives. When hiring a coach, there should be a been there, done that knowledge, and also there needs to be skill in communication, insight, and patience, and gentleness. He brings these to coaching as well as an unqualified belief in your brilliance and the preciousness of human life. This is why he wants to work with people with serious disease and even terminally ill patients. Next to me is a short interview with Dr. Dean that covers some of the top questions you might ask about having a life coach. There's also a version of the video on the webpage and a summary of his credentials as well. Better yet, give him a call. He's providing a free discovery session to see if there's a fit for his approach and your needs. Aloha to all, and blessings on your next step. Aloha, Dr. Dean. Welcome back.
Thank you, Deb.
The last time I saw you, you were running a wonderful holistic clinic here in Kailua, and you sell the practice. You write a book about a new paradigm of health, and then you take off for a sailing and family retreat, and now you reemerge as a coach. I'm wondering, what happened to Dr. Dean?
Well, it doesn't feel like there's any discontinuity from inside at all, Deb. By the time I left my clinic, the majority of people were coming to me for some form of counseling or mentoring or issues about life altogether. So for me, it's just establishing exactly how I want to serve and why you would come to me. It's like expanding the whole paradigm of why a doctor is in your life. So in that sense, all I'm doing is clarifying why people would come to me. I'm saying, this is where I want to serve. I want to serve with your whole life. I truly want to become even another step more holistic in your care. In Chinese medicine, there's an ancient text, and it describes healing on 3 levels. There's the doctor that helps you with your pain and your symptoms. There's a doctor that helps you discover your nature. And finally, there's a doctor that helps you discover your destiny. If you remember, my mission statement said, we invite you into more vivid and present dance in your life, that we would heal, laugh, cry, and possibly share the richness of the dying process together. None of that has changed. I'm just saying, I want, you could say, the whole enchilada, your whole life, and all the tools that I have to help you in a more heartfelt way.
You've done a wonderful job of explaining the meaning of the word doctor. I'm wondering if you could expand a little bit more on what's a life coach.
Simply put, a life coach is someone you hire to win or succeed or change something. But I want to answer that on 2 levels, the relative and the absolute. On the relative level, there's some discontent or some yearning. The issues could be anything from relationship to love to money to career to deep loss to divorce, or some desire to reach excellence in your life. On the relative level, you wish to accomplish something. You know, Tom Landry said this well, a coach is somebody who asks you to see something you don't want to see, to hear something you don't want to hear, so that you become everything that you can become. You don't want to die with your song still in you. So on the relative level, it's to win, to succeed. That being said, on the accomplishment level, if we're just going from accomplishment to accomplishment, you could even say, in some sense, from a dream to a dream, you're still left empty. So as much as accomplishing is absolutely necessary in your life, even your biggest accomplishment will be hollow without the absolute level of actually having an exploration of your brilliance, of your wisdom tied with it. For instance, if you said Bill Gates or Donald Trump or even Madonna, The question would be, have they actually reached contentment or happiness or fulfillment? So it isn't just accomplishing. You don't just want to know your song. You want to know how you're connected to life's brilliance, to your nature, to your actual fulfillment. So that's the absolute level that needs to be in coaching as well as the relative level.
I'm guessing that your ideal patient or client would be someone who knows what they want. But what if someone comes in and says, I have no idea what I want?
I think actually most people come in to me saying they don't know what they want. But they know a whisper that could come up as anxiety, it could come up as boredom, it could come up as frustration, it could come up as anger, it could come up as yearning. There's some whisper that actually needs to turn into a roar until you have to do something about it. That roar that I said can actually manifest in a number of different ways. So there's brilliance in actually not knowing what you want, but knowing that you want some change. So I think the only people who have really ever come to me and say, I know what I want, is executive coaches, because it's just a bottom line issue. But many times we don't know what we want, but there's still wisdom and brilliance in that not knowing.
I'm going to play the devil's advocate here just a little bit. Say I'm a patient and I come in and I say, listen, doc, I just want more money.
Then I want to help you get more money. It's a simple thing. That being said, however, money is one of those extremely charged issues. We bring a lot of programming to the table when we're talking about money. Making more money is not rocket science. It's more per hour, more hours, or the product is doing the same for you, making you more per hour or bigger market share. But it's also connected to your values and to another thing which I call your actual wealth of life. For instance, if I said to you, Deb, I've studied all kinds of market endeavors and I think you should go into pushing cocaine, you would say, yeah, I'm crazy, because it contradicts a value that you have. You don't just want money, you want money that's aligned to what you want to do in life. So money is tied to a whole paradigm of how you look at life. And money also can't be separated from wealth. Wealth can be an entirely different issue. Now, wealth is usually defined by how much contentment, peace, and happiness is in your life. The King of Bhutan said an interesting thing. He says, in our country we don't rate gross national product, we rate gross national happiness. So not only do I want to coach and help you have more money, I want at the end of that to be able to look back and say, your life is wealthier.
So how are you different from other coaches?
For one thing, I come from a background of 26 years of human fulfillment and life potential seminars that I've given both in the United States and internationally. Also, I've been a mindfulness meditation instructor and stress reduction coach for 30 years. So that gives me a certain kind of look at things, as well as the training that I've trained in 3 different coaching approaches. But more than that, I think I've run a holistic clinic for 2 decades. And so I know body and how tapes or limitations can get entrenched in the body, and I have tools to free those as well. I've certainly learned that many of your limitations are actually embedded in the physical body. And so whether it's Qigong or breathing exercises, I bring more tools, I think, to the totality of helping you. And I think thirdly, and my wife would probably agree with some chagrin, will testify, in terms of how I've lived my life, I've gone out in heavy seas time and time again. And so there's a been there, done that aspect that I bring to my coaching at this point.
I've heard you talk about wanting to coach patients with life-threatening diagnosis, patients that are in the process of, as you call it, the richness of the dying process in your mission statement. I'm wondering if you can expand on this a bit more.
Deb, on that one, there's 2 aspects. One is the need, and the other one is the opportunity. On the opportunity, we have a brilliant healthcare system. And there's a certain point where that healthcare system is actually stops. You could say once you get a very serious life-threatening disease, even to the point of it possibly being terminal, there's no real care. You've just been thrown the biggest curveball that you're going to get in your life, and you're in some sort of free fall. And yet the system, after the diagnosis and the acute care, isn't really there for you, either emotionally, psychically, or even spiritually. So the need is just huge. Now, I love hospice, and that picks up the care at a certain point. But also, You are so in need, you're vulnerable, you're open, you're expanding, you're really wanting to know what life's about. As Elizabeth Kubler-Ross says, there's no phony balonies anymore in your life. In a sense, you live life differently if you think you only have 1 year or 6 months to live. It's just a privilege to be involved with people at that time. So it's both the opportunity in terms of the client or patient's openness, and the need in terms of that it's not being offered in our healthcare system.
How is life coaching different from psychology?
Coaching, quite frankly, is more fruitional oriented, more action oriented. Where are we starting from and where we're going to go versus looking back and trying to figure out where the actual pain, wound, or hurt came from. You want to get somewhere. So there's a vast difference in the paradigm. I think it was Freud who said that it seems it's not a design of the universe that man should be happy. A coach, in terms of how I'm approaching coaching, would not say that. I'm here to help you reach your full human potential, happiness, joy, contentment.
So there's the one-on-one approach, the person-to-person approach. I'm wondering, do you offer other ways of coaching besides just the one-on-one?
Deb, again, I've led seminars for almost 30 years now, and I'm sure once I get totally my feet back on the ground, I'll offer seminars again. I'm also open to giving talks. I've given talks at churches and health groups and hospitals and schools. So I'm available to that. I'm sure I'll start that again.
It sounds to me like coaching is obviously an investment in one's life. What are we talking about monetarily?
The wonderful thing is if you call me, it's just me and you. So that what I'm saying is that it gives me a chance to completely tailor a program that's appropriate for you. That being said, generally I like to start with a 3-month commitment. And because of the recession, I've actually created a recession rate, and I find that I'm actually less expensive than even personal physical trainers. So it's not a really particularly expensive situation.
So what's the next step? How does a person begin working with you?
Deb, it's as simple as emailing me or calling. Again, I'm able to tailor a program to your needs. So just give me a call. I offer a free discovery session, a 30-minute introductory discovery session to see if there's a fit between where you want to go and my tools of whether I can help. So that's kind of like a no risk offer.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Dean.
Thank you, Deb, so much.